Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We're on episode 455 today, and yes, we are going to work on Fred the Sea Turtle today. I have some different materials I'm going to work with because I want the rest of the image to be fairly soft and somewhat out of focus compared to this very detailed background. I have a copy of my coloring on a smooth cardstock. It's a 65-pound Nina solar cover copy that I use for card making, and I'm using card making supplies today. So what I am going to do, and some art supplies, I have what is called a drawing gum. This is a very liquidy, it's called liquid frisket. It's a masking solution. I've already cleaned it up. I've done, oh hey, and it is, oh look at that, the lid wasn't on and I had angled it for you. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up and I'll be right back. All right, I probably should have cleaned this all up in front of you. This is why I'm working on a sample. I'm really glad that I did work on a sample. I was thinking of recopying this, but I want to pretend if this was my original. This frisket, which was liquid, you watched it puddle, has now somewhat dried. And we're gonna see how repaired we can get. Like, is this stained here? This is not original ink. So I have a tool that I want to find. We're breaking out more tools than I expected. I have this is from the Dollar Tree. It is a it comes as a square. I've cut it in half actually. And it's very well used because it has stuff stuck to it. It's a gum eraser, and you can use it to peel away frisket. You can also use it to peel away any glue that you get on a card that you want to remove. Like over here I have some. Let's see how much we can clean off here as it's now dry. You saw that it was blue, and where I'm able to peel it up, it has a faint blue to it. I am feeling for the rubber. So the purpose for this frisket, aside from making a giant mess all over my image so that we can explore the frisket better, now that it is dry, it is coming up in rubbery clumps, like so. Fred is, again, the background, the other aquatic elements are all going to be done fairly quickly. I may go in and darken things up later, but for the initial go at the background, I'm going to start light. Everyone knows, if you followed me, that I'm not a huge risk taker. I guess that's a good way to put it. That I like to start light and then darken as I go. Once I see what, keep darkening until it's finally as dark as I want it to be. So I mainly cleaned off Fred, and you can see slight staining still. I'm hopefully not going to be putting on such a big clumpy amount of the frisket. The purpose for the frisket, okay, and then it is doing right here, this one little thing you have to watch for is it will peel up your paper. So you do want to be somewhat careful with it, and I'm going to be using it very sparingly. For the first pass at coloring Fred, I am going to be using an ink and a blending brush, which we will show in a minute. So I want to put frisket on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fish. That's all I want to do for the areas I'm going to work with today. So I have my frisket. I have what's called a rolling pin. There's other ways to apply this. In fact, let me go get one of them. For it. The other tools are more common, and it's actually makeup applicators that you can use. These are little rubber tips, They are paintbrushes with rubber tips, a variety of shapes and sizes. I bought a set of small ones. I still prefer using what's called a rolling mill because this is a very liquid frisket, and I simply dip into the well. You're going to see that I get a bunch of the material in between the two metal bits, and I'm going to very quickly apply and spread the frisket on all of the fishies. As it dries, they will turn more blue. This is going to protect the fishes. I want to keep them white to be colored in later. So I will say that I have re-evaluated my plan of attack for the turtle and the background because the languos are so sensitive to water. Okay, so there's our 5 fish. We're going to let that dry, and we're going to review the other materials while those fish are drying. It might bubble a little bit. This is pretty liquid masking, and so I hope that I won't have it pucker the original too much. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to show you the rest of the materials. I have what's called a blending brush. This is used in crafting, and I am going to be applying some regular old stamping ink. This is from Stampin' Up. I do also have at the time when I bought them, all of the re-inkers for the Memento ink line. I bought 36 of them at the time. There might be more colors today than there were back in the day. I'm going to put a greenish tint to Fred. I have pictures of a hawksbill sea turtle. They are actually very tannish looking with brown spots, kind of russet brown to very dark brown spots, but he's underwater, so I do want him to have a watery color. So I think the old olive applied lightly will give him a good even base so that I can very quickly color the rest of him, as we're not going for a lot of detail. And then for the background, I have Pool Party, which is just a watercolor. It's kind of the color of the frisket, and I will apply the Pool Party. So I was going to use the Neo Color 2s, but I am afraid of the water getting close to the edges of my Languo gel pen line out art that I did. So all around where the Languo is will be very pale, if not almost white. I will be doing more frisket over the larger fish and the larger jellyfish, but I'm going to make the background very soft, and then the outer edges I will try to go darker. So we will see how that all goes. I'm feeling to see if the frisket is dry, and it feels like it is dry. It is important that it be dry because I will be coloring right over the top of it. I have not tried this, so you are seeing my mock-up. I'm just getting rid of some of this frisket here on his head. It is possible, and we won't have on the original, I will not have the issue of the frisket. I feel residue of frisket on his head. So we might get a little difference in the color, but I want to show you without the stress of me doing it for real live, because I already screwed up. See what a disaster that would have been. So I will be much more careful when we get the original going. So I'm just making sure that I've got the frisket picked up. I hope you can hear the squeezy sounds. It's like a squeegee. I will have to say, my color printer does a really good job of when I print artworks on it. All right. I think we've got our kind of sticky fish, the 5 of them. I've got my, this used to be Night of Navy as a blue, but I cleaned this. I don't ever get this wet. I clean it off after I use it, and then this was today. I just took a sticky. I'm actually going to use this sticky note a little bit, and I'm not seeing any more blue coming off. Yeah, let's go on the back side. So this is a good way to know if this blending brush is clean. You could use a sponge. You're going to get a slightly different texture. I want to go for a really smooth light base. I could also use my alcohol markers if I wanted, but I just thought this would be fun. I think alcohol markers get used more often. I will just be taking and moving this sticky note around the edge. I'm not too worried. I don't think that my light use of the olive green is going to change the color of the, certainly not the pencils, and I don't think it will alter the Langueau colors, but I am going to casually use this sticky. And then what I could do, this is just if you want to be more cautious than I plan on being, you could cut some angles. I've done this before, where I have a small corner and then a big loose corner, and you could use those to cover just the individual areas, you know, like this little pink fluff coral. I could do that with it. The fish, in theory, we don't have to worry about. Now, I'm not going to rub hard. If you rubbed hard enough with this brush, you could possibly peel up your frisket, and we don't want to do that. All right, so I want to show you how this works. Tap, tap, tap. This is a second copy if I had chosen to use another, use a different copy. Okay, so there's my tone of my olive green. I don't want it to be overpowering. There's a little bit of some texture showing. It'll be different. That's toothy copy paper. I decided to go with a nicer paper for this demo. So I am just going to go along the edges here. We'll start right here at like his neck. And again, I'm going light because I don't want to peel up the frisket on accident, so I'm not going to use a lot of pressure here at all. I am just lightly getting some color on him. And I kind of like this just soft liquid like look. Here's our pink fluff, covering the pink fluff, moving on down the line. Not really too worried. I am not even worried about it going off like down here on the end. I'm gonna kind of go linear, and he's got some color, and the legs got a little color. And if I'm off, I'm going to make this all darker. So that's casual enough. I might be a little more careful when I do the real thing. So now we don't really need the sticky note anymore. I was only using the sticky note up by the corals. The fish are all protected. They don't seem to be peeling up. I can feel resistance when I pass across them. His face is going to be lighter. And this underside of his wing, his fin, is also going to be lighter. I never colored this backside, so I will have a little bit of recoloring to do. I may or may not do that with you guys. Oh, and see, I wanted to be careful. The area where it did go dark is okay. And there you go. Fred is instantly colored. Boom. I want to now peel off the frisket. I can use my finger, as you can see, or I could grab my gum eraser. And see how pristinely white these fish are? Easy peasy. Okay, that tore. These two didn't, so I need to be much softer. So this is why if you're going to do any of these types of projects where you use these new tools, test first. So I'm going to be very careful with my lift. And that went way better. This fish too got dumped when I spilled, so that's probably why that fish had a problem. That fish didn't. I can see where I had a swath of it dump right here. All right, so that is the quick mock-up. I'm moving right along to the real thing. Well, let's find it. Where is it hiding? Oh, it is in the printer. That is so funny. All right, here's the real Fred. We're going to be very careful around the real Fred. Barb named Fred, by the way. Thank you, Barb, for throwing out a name for him. I have my rolling pen. It was used by drafters. They would roll their ink using a ruler, and this little dial, which this is a cheap rolling pen, so I'm not even sure how much it works, it will make the lines thinner or thicker. Yeah, so I can feel it now. It's tighter. And then you can see where the frisket has dried, so I can take this apart and clean it in between uses. I will not clean it before I will be brave. My frisket is off to the side. We've got our 5. Here it is. I'll try to let you see it. I have dipped. Once it starts and flows, it's way easier to stretch the liquid. And if it stops working, you can just do another dip. I'm probably waiting too long on this one up here. Makeup applicators will probably just need to be dipped more. I like that these are nice big shapes. I could see the makeup applicators. There's a pointy one that I showed you that would be really good for getting into corners of very small spaces. You know, like if I was really going to be picky and wanted to get into the tails of these guys, I could use that if I wanted, but I think I'm going to be good with just a basic application. We're going to let that dry. Set all this aside. I will come back in just 1 minute. It'll be a flash for you guys, but I'm going to make sure this is good and dry before we get started on putting the Old Olive ink on him. I am back. My fishes are nice and dry. I have got my ink pad right next to me. The behavior on this particular Kerby book paper might be different, and we're just going to roll with it. So I'm going to start again up here. Whatever I get is what I get to work with. Again, light pressure over these fish. I don't want to peel up the frisket before I'm ready to. These are all shadow spaces, and I will be using pencil to darken in the shadows. So I want to be careful back here. And I had said I would like my rear fin to not be overlapped as much. So that's better. When my hand goes off the side, I have my ink right here, and I'm just doing a tap, tap, tap. Here, let's see if I can show you. Tap, tap, tap. A little goes a long way. There's going to be a lot more color on this fin, so I'm okay with it being a little darker. I want his head and the front of his neck to be lighter colored, so I'm going to be quite soft. Oh, you're seeing the sun. I'm not going to worry about it yet. I'd like to get this done, and then I'll close my curtain. Pardon me, for the coloring part of this. So that was super fast. Okay, Fred is now instantly colored. I still think that of all of my choices, this was the fastest possible way to color him. I will close my pad, close the curtain. Yep, even more. There we go. I'm going to use my fingers to peel off the frisket. I just worry that the glue is puts too much pressure. Oh, look, and it did, it tore. I'm gonna have to be very careful about that. So I'll have to do a repair there. Luckily I have good permanent ink liners that are very delicate. Nice feel peeling of paper. At least he has a little face still. Well, this is good to know for the rest of the fishies. They are not perfect. All right. Let's move on to coloring. Coloring Fred. I did again to get a photograph of a hawksbill sea turtle and have picked some Prismacolors. These are our pencils that we have been using from way back when I first started. So I've got a russet 945, then a brown 1082 and a dark sepia. So it's sienna brown, chocolate, and sepia. And then this is to help with the olivey tone. I'm going to be using pale sage here and there. So starting with the russet, I'm looking around for my craft glasses. So the Kerby paper is not as durable as my Nina paper, so that is good to know that I will have to be making little faces on my fishes. So I'm just using ovals. Again, this is like the base color. I will post the picture that I'm using for coming up with the color scheme for him on the community tab. So we are basically layering these tones. Tones upon tones. So I don't necessarily need this russet color everywhere. And I want this to be somewhat sketchy, not like really perfect or anything. The fins, this front fin is the one, and then the top of his head gets pretty dark. The underbelly coloring gets really dark, so we only have to do the russet color. What is this? Sienna brown. Let's call it by what it is. I'm not Prismacolor trained, so the sienna brown is mostly on this fin and on yeah, mostly on the fin actually. I am not filling in all the tooth because I have more layers to put on. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. I hopefully will have no technology glitches today so that I can just get this done and get it loaded up. This is my middle of the month, which means my other channel has a video that I do that I will start as soon as I am finished with this. Depending on how that goes, I might be able to get one more coloring session done. Maybe on Sunday. I'm now excited at the prospect of seeing this page completely finished. Okay, that is the main tone. I'm going right to the sepia, and I will be coming back in. This is the super dark color, 948. These have not been sharpened from the last time they were used. We only had, I guess our temperature right now is in the low 80s. We had a nice rainstorm, And for once, it almost feels like fallish, which is crazy because it's only August, which is usually our hottest month of the year, and it is very low humidity, which I am so grateful for. Any days with low humidity I will take. I am going to sharpen this. And now it is nice and sharp. So now it's going to behave different, so I have to kind of take my time and feel out its shift to the sharp point. I have a lot of small patches to do. So the linguo, I mentioned the last time I colored that I saw there are 5 more sets of colors. I did get them ordered. I even looked in my case. Before I ordered them, I had mentioned I could buy a bigger case. I went, no, I'm going to make sure there's room in this case for the new sets. And I was able to squish everything together. Now, it'll be a really tight space to zip because adding it's another row and a half the thickness of the pens, so zipping might be an issue. I do have the location for these pens right by my desk I have a basket system, and they can be in there. They don't have to be zipped, so I just want to make sure that they all fit in one space. And they should. The linguos, I have a chart that I got online. It's a photograph, and I have added labeling for the different set names, as well as the one of the things about linguo versus, like, I guess, knockoff brands of linguo wannabes is the linguos pens each have a set number. And so I have identified the set numbers as well as the names. I've seen them called a variety of different names, so I've tried to collect all that. So once I get the 5 new sets, I will have to figure out a nice way to update that chart. That is on my coffee shop, and it is free. Someone was curious if I could provide them like an Excel list or some sort of typed up list, but I just typed it into my art program and don't have like a master list of all of the sets. If I do end up making some sort of a spreadsheet type list, because I do love my spreadsheets, I will create, a multiple page PDF that kind of has a grouping of all of the different materials that go along with the linguo sets and how to identify them, and what the standard cases. You can buy these in a chunk. I have a backup set of the 18 that I bought in a group, but they still came all stacked together in 18 different sets of 9 in little packages. Their other product lines come packaged, all so different. I don't even know how they keep track of their... so I'm just leaving some highlights. I'm being very casual. I could be spending a ton of time in here getting, really picky and getting rid of all these little bits of white. But for now, I'm not really going to do that. So you can see me doing a little bit just to show you that I do see all of those imperfections. But for the way I'm coloring him, it isn't my focus, so I don't really want him to be overly detailed. The most that I probably would do maybe is go through with a blender pencil at the end and clean up some edges. So yeah, the linguos are They're still a growing brand, a growing product line. They have acrylic markers. They've got gel pens, fat gel pens, skinny gel pens, glitter gel pens. I was very tempted to buy the glitter gel pens. And then I saw that there were 5 new sets of colors, so instead my money went toward buying the 5 new sets so that I can just focus on owning all of the fine point gel pens so that I can focus on my no-line drawing. A new thing for me. So, okay, so I am still purposefully making these not smooth. I don't want them to look overly smooth. I do want this front here where there's a curved surface, so the very front I want to have be the darkest. Okay, I'm going to curve him so that I can see a little better for what I am doing. So for very, very little time, look at all these colors that I have. I've got the green, I've got the brown, and it was so fast. I just think that was the fastest way to go, using the ink. And you can use any brand of ink pads. Just look for the color tones you want. I am just really amazed that over time of using these in the small victories over and over and over, I have become totally comfortable using these pencils. They were very intimidating and frustrating for me in the beginning. The main thing is they are messy. I haven't had any quality issues, and these have not been treated well. They have traveled thousands of miles in my RV with me. I have a companion set of 1986 barrel Prismacolors. Those also questionable background. Who knows what their life was before coming to live with me and being pampered in a very special case with these. And I don't have any problems with those either. They are actually softer than the current day Prismas. At least that's what my experience is. Now, I want the back side of the fins to also be very dark. I want to imply a curved fin. And there you go. We have got a fin done. The next thing I want to do, we've got a little bit of time left, is I want to go in and get the shadow bits here nestled amongst the coral using this same dark color. I love following the lines when artists do the shadow lines for me so that I have some guidance. It makes it so much faster for me. Okay, so I have to invent a little bit about his shape. There you go. He has his shape back. He has a little face. That's good. I only lost the eyeball on this guy. Don't forget to remember to vary. I actually am looking at the lines. You can do your variation in color any way you want, but I kind of use the lines as a guide. There are no lines here on this area. Little pebbles I did not color in. So the reason why I didn't wait to take off these could be colored in if I wanted to, but I don't know that I really have to do that. This is curved right here. You can see the line, so I'm going to leave this white area where it's softly olive green. And then I'm going to go really dark right here where the neck and his shell connect. But I didn't want to risk the frisket causing even more issues, and I also wanted to know how the frisket would come off. Kind of like peeling the band-aid off earlier than later. All right, we're at 42 minutes, so I'm just going to keep on keeping on. I know I want this shadowy area to be dark. And there you have it, folks. We have got started on Fred. We will finish him up hopefully Sunday. That's my plan. And hopefully today I will get this processing going and won't have any issues. I do not know why, after I had already processed quite a few videos without any issues, why all of a sudden there was some sort of bug introduced. But this company that I paid the whole $10 for this software, like 12 years ago, they patch on their own and they add their own updates, and it happens in the background, and I don't have any control over it. So a couple of other times they've patched and had problems. And if I sound really geeky, that's kind of what my career was. I worked in IT, managing all of our web servers. I did front-end and back-end work and have done coding and understand all of the whole. I've had many titles. I worked there for 22 years, always in IT. And I was the production release manager at one point. So the whole releasing bad code, I have been through many times. All right, I think we've done all we can do because I can just keep going and going. So we will reconvene at the tail end of this week. Everybody take care. As always, I've given up on saying thank you for watching my channel today, and welcome back if you are returning, because I always end up saying it at the end anyways. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, consider subscribing, and everyone take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's see, can we bring Fred out? That is out. I never zoomed him in. So there is how Fred is looking now.